Alright, buckle up, because I'm still buzzing from my Panama Canal adventure on board the Norwegian Joy. Seriously, I've been practically vibrating with excitement to tell you all about it. Forget sleep, forget responsibilities. All I can think about are these giant ships and these incredibly cool locks. Yep, we're talking about one of the top 10 cruises every respectable cruiser has to try. We're talking Pacific to Atlantic through the new locks. Yes, I said new. Like freshly squeezed engineering marvels. Prepare for a sensory overload. We've got adventure. We've got ships that make buildings look like Lego blocks. And, okay, maybe even moments where I, the embodiment of caffeine, almost drifted off. But hey, even epic journeys have their nap time with a view moments, right? Trust me, the sheer scale of this thing will blow your mind off. And maybe lull you into a brief, ship-induced slumber, but mostly mind-blowing. Trust me, you won't believe what happened even before we got to the locks. It involved a queue, a dentist appointment, and a lot of waiting. Stick around to find out. So before we hit the canal, we had the mandatory Panama Canal History 101 lecture. Now, I love history, but this was intense. We had a very enthusiastic guest speaker, bless their heart, who went into every single detail of every failed attempt to build this thing. We're talking French failures, mosquito plagues, and enough yellow fever to never get you out of your cabin. Did you know the French tried and then the US came back to finish it? It was like a sports game, you know, where the first team fumbled for years and years, and then the second team comes in and scores a touchdown. By the way, the French tried building it at sea level. Imagine the digging. It was a ditch digger's nightmare. And the crowd was, let's just say like a gentle snoring, you know, was a soothing background track to the historical trauma. I swear, some people were using their programs as pillows. Okay, so how do these locks actually work? Picture this. It's like a giant bathtub for ships. Let me show you. You enter a chamber, they close the doors, and then they fill it with water to lift you up. Oops, that didn't work. Have to find another thing for the example. You enter a chamber, they close the doors, and then they fill it with water to lift you up. Then they open the next set of doors, and you float into the next bathtub. Repeat and boom, you're through. It's basically a really expensive lift for ships. Think it of like a series of water stairs, but for ships that are the size of apartment buildings. It's like a water park ride for ships. I was expecting to see people be throwing their hands up and screaming, but it was surprisingly smooth. So we left the Panama city port. Everyone was buzzing with excitement, ready for the locks. And then we stopped. Just stopped. Apparently we had to wait for the right tide, which meant we were stuck in a queue. It felt like we've been given a token for a dentist appointment. And we're just sitting in the waiting room, nervously glancing at the clock. Everyone was still excited, but it was that kind of excitement you have when you press against the glass on a Black Friday. hoping for the doors to open, and you snag the deal not getting trampled. We were all staring at the lights of the Panama City, thinking, any minute now, any minute. And then we just kept waiting all night. We just kept waiting all night. We were like, the kids in the back seat. Are we there yet? Are we there yet? Finally, the sun came up and it was time for the first lock. And let me tell you, I was like a kid in a candy store. Pure, unadulterated excitement. Everyone was crammed at the front of the ship, jostling for the best view. It was like Oscar's night before these giant concrete walls and rising water. The sheer scale of it was mind-blowing. Watching those massive doors closing was like witnessing a mechanical ballet. And then the water started rising and we were going up. It was like magic, but with a lot of concrete and engineering. Okay, what I was not prepared was for Gatun Lake. It was surreal. You're cruising through this massive lake, and instead of speedboats and jet skis, you're seeing giant container ships and cargo vessels. Just floating, just like happy ducks. It was like a giant industrial duck pond. And the islands, they were the tops of submerged mountains, which was just, weirdly beautiful. It was like a post-apocalyptic water world, but with better shipping lanes. We were surrounded by these lush green islands, and these enormous ships were just gliding along. It was like a dream, but with a lot of steel and cargo. And cruise ships. Now, the Atlantic locks. Well, let's just say the excitement had worn off. We'd seen it all before. And now it was just routine. The passengers were like, yeah, we get it. Water goes up, boat goes up, whatever. It was like watching the same magic trick twice. But the second time, you know how it's done. Everyone was just kind of waiting to get out. The energy was completely different. It was like we were just collectively thinking, can we just be done now? And that's it. We made it through the Panama Canal. What an incredible experience, even with the sleepy lectures and long waits. If you enjoyed this video, please hit the subscribe button and give it a thumbs up. And if you want to see more of my cruising adventures, check out this video on the Norwegian Joy, where I did this amazing crossing. Or you can check my other video on luxury cruising. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next video.